Yes, hello. So it's time now for part two of my top 20 movies of all time. So now I'm going to count down from number 10 to number one. And yeah, so number 10 is Stanley Kubrick's film Barry Lyndon. Um, yeah, what to say? I think this is just a great example of like storytelling on film. Um, I love the way that the movie just really takes its time to develop the story, and it's kind of like, in a way, it's kind of slow paced, but at the same time, it's never boring, and that's kind of like kind of a unique film thing about this film. And yeah, aside from that, it has an amazing look. It really is very immersive. Cinematography is amazing. It's a film that really, yeah, more than any other, I think, immerses you in another time period in a way that, yeah, I've seen very few films being able to do. And yeah, also the music, use of music is very good. It's a lot of classical music, and it always fits very well. Um, yeah, it's a very beautifully crafted film, and yeah, it's just one of those movies that you really admire as like an exercise in great filmmaking. Just everything from how the story is told and the performances, and yeah, just the artistry involved. It's all just of an extremely high level artistically, when it comes to filmmaking. Yeah, Kubrick, there was no one better than him. And yeah, this is a movie that I kind of postponed watching for a long time. I thought it was probably like a boring period film. I'm usually not a big fan of this kind of film, but yeah, it's very much typical Kubrick style film. It's very recognizable, and yeah, his movies have this kind of hypnotic power that you can't really stop watching them. It doesn't matter what kind of movie, kind of genre it is. They're always so captivating and absorbing. Yeah, this is one of his definitely one of his best for me. Yeah. Okay. So number 9 is La Vita è Bella, or also known as Life is Beautiful, by Roberto Benigni. Yeah, this is just a very funny and moving film that I saw in the theater, and was a very, yeah, impressive experience. And it's really like a heartwarming movie. It's kind of, it's a bit controversial because, of course, it's a movie with a lot of humor, but it's about the Holocaust. But it's just a very sweet film, basically. And yeah, like I said, the first part of the movie, like to say, the first half is really very entertaining, funny, genuinely funny. And yeah, the second part is mostly just very, let's say, poignant, but also sometimes even then, still when they go to the camps, it still maintains a kind of lightheartedness. But yeah, it's really a movie about like, triumphing against adversity. Yeah. So yeah, definitely one of the best Italian films ever made. And I think Roberto Benigni is still the only person ever to win a Best Actor Oscar for a non English speaking part, which is in itself a pretty impressive thing. So yeah, that's number 9. Number 8 is another Kubrick film, The Shining. This is the first film of Kubrick that I saw. I was only 12 years old, pretty young for that. But it's a movie that always fascinated me. And I remember that I watched it like over and over when I was like 13. There was something about it that just intrigued me so much. I thought it had like a way of telling the story that was unlike anything that I'd seen before. And yeah, it was kind of like that kind of undescribable Kubrick style that you saw in also his other films. And yeah, this movie still to this day I think is brilliant, and maybe my favorite performance by Jack Nicholson, who was also my favorite actor. Yeah, he's just pretty terrifying in this film. And yeah, it's just also a movie that has a lot of like layers. Um, it can be interpreted in different ways, and also a typical thing of Kubrick's films. And yeah, it also just plain works as a horror film. I mean, I remember being scared of it, scared by it the first few times I saw it. There are some genuinely surprising, jump moments, and yeah, it's just a very good story. Also, I mean, of course, based on a book by Stephen King. Yeah, who did come up with a great concept, and Kubrick, of course, changed a lot of things. But yeah, the result is really pretty fantastic film. I always loved it. Yeah, you can really tell like the perfectionism that Kubrick put in this film. It's like, yeah, performances are also so viscerally real. You kind of can tell that he drove them a bit crazy. And also the child playing Danny is one of the best child performances I've ever seen. But anyway, that's Shining. Number 7 is James Cameron's Titanic, which some people might say, it's a bit of a strange choice, especially me being, kind of a cinephile. I think my list has a pretty decent combination of like popular films and let's say more unconventional films. But Titanic, for me, the reason I have it very high on the list is basically that it was a very impressive, maybe the most impressive movie-going experience that I had in my whole life. Because it's the movie that really, when I saw it, was so unbelievably it's absorbing in a way that few films I've seen are, and it makes you really feel like you're a part of it somehow. It has something that about it that's very, yeah, immersive into that whole experience. Um, yeah, the of course the quality of like everything in the film, the artistry, the way they recreated the ship, the special effects, the sets, all of that is really top notch. And you really believe that they recreated the whole ship, and they, you know, went out to sea with it and sunk it, which of course they didn't do. But you know, when I first saw it, I had no idea that it was a lot of like special effects and CGI. And still to this day, it's kind of hard to tell sometimes what's, you know, which part of the film or which part of the ship is real, what's not, you know. So that's really incredible. And on top of that, it has a very good love story. I mean, you could say that it has some cliches and the dialogue is not always the most original, but it doesn't really need to be. And yeah, it really works so well because of the chemistry between Leo and Kate's characters. You could really tell that they were good friends, that they worked so well together in that film. Um, yeah, again, the way they recreated the sinking was so, you know, felt so real and yeah, very exciting to watch. And you get to that point, you know, that you really care about the characters. So it's really, yeah, to me, it's about as good a film as you can get of that kind of genre. Um, and it was unbelievably impressive and absorbing and exciting and suspenseful and, you know, everything you want pretty much from a movie going experience. And for me, it has never really been equaled in terms of movies that I saw in the cinema. I was 12 years old, which is also a good age to see that kind of film. I was, I think, just old enough to really remember it and appreciate it, and not so young that I couldn't really, you know, fully appreciate it. Anyway, it's a movie that to this day I still enjoy watching it. It's hard to stop watching it when it's on TV. And you know, it has had a kind of backlash because I think purely because it was so popular, for no other reason. Because it made also like unbelievable amount of money for those days, and especially for a 3 hour movie, it was incredible how much money that movie made. It made twice as much as the previous record holder, which was Jurassic Park at the time. Yeah, it was also the first movie that made more than $1 billion. So, uh, also only the second film to win 11 Oscars. So yeah, to me, really, it deserved everything that all the popularity and all the awards that it got. Yeah, some people think it's overrated or a little bit. Yeah, to me, it's just a great film. Okay, so number 6 is The Truman Show. I saw this one actually in the same year as Titanic, 1998. And yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of it. I thought it was really terrific. The cool thing was I was already a big fan of Jim Carrey at the time, and I knew that this movie was a little bit unlike his typical films. Like I knew it was a little bit that it had some humor, but it was also much more. It was like a kind of more intelligent film than his usual kind of film, and it really yeah, lived up to, and it actually far exceeded my expectations. And it's just a very clever film. It's funny and it's imaginative, and also just a good sort of science fiction story, you know. Um, and also has a very kind of cool ending that's very ironic. So it really works amazingly well on every level. Yeah, there's not really much I can say about it. It's a movie that was also very well received by critics, and great performance by Jim Carrey, Ed Harris also, and it creates a really interesting world. You know, there's this huge set. It looks like a city. Yeah, very kind of it's almost a bit forgotten, this movie, but it's really one of the great films for me of the '90s, certainly. Um, and it also kind of came before this advent of reality TV. You could almost say that it inspired all that stuff a little bit. Yeah, so okay, so next is number 5, which is Fantasia by Walt Disney. I mean, yeah, the Disney film Fantasia. I mean, it's not made by Walt Disney himself, but you know what I mean. This is a movie I've adored ever since I was a kid. Um, it One of the most unique films I've ever seen. To this day, I don't think there's anything quite like it. The only other film like it is actually the sequel, Fantasia 2000, um, which is also a decent film, but nowhere near as good as Fantasia. And yeah, what I always loved about it was just something about the combination of images and music, amazing animation, amazing music. It's just a movie that's like a feast for the eyes and the ears, you know. Um, it also has like a great variety of different kinds of segments, you know. Some are better than others, but yeah, I would say the whole Sorcerer's Apprentice one is maybe the best one, but also the one with the dinosaurs. But everything in the movie is great. When I was a kid, I like I said, I always loved it, but I did think some of the parts of the movie was a bit more boring. But now I really appreciate every part of the movie a lot, and it's really great to watch. Yeah, this way of creating animation that kind of syncs with the music, with classical music, is something that I think was a genius thing to do. And yeah, it's even though it's not really, yeah, it's certainly the most unconventional kind of movie that Disney made, and it also wasn't that successful. It became kind of like a cult film. It was a little bit experimental as well, and I think it was supposed to be like the first of many similar kinds of films. It was supposed to be like the first of a series, but because it was not so successful, that never happened. But I always adored it, even though I can imagine a lot of kids not really enjoying it that much because you know, it doesn't have any dialogue, it doesn't have any real characters or a real story. But maybe also because I always liked classical music. I don't know. I always really enjoyed the movie a lot, and it's a unique piece of work, a great piece of art, in my opinion. All right, so number 4 is next. It's Steven Spielberg's Jurassic Park. which, yeah. Uh, I saw it in the cinema when I was 7 years old, already being crazy about dinosaurs. And like, I can't even really explain how overwhelming of an experience watching this kind of film was. I mean, the dinosaurs also in the movie are so unbelievably realistic. And it was such a big leap, that they took with the special effects, the CGI in that movie. Um, there had been CGI before, but never it was never used to create such realistic creatures, animals or whatever. It was never used to create like living creatures before, and yeah, to think that till this day, when you look at the movie, the effects still really hold up, and in some ways, they're even better than a lot of effects that you see today, which is kind of astonishing because the movie is from 32 years ago. Right, or yeah, 32 years ago, and yeah, they really outdid themselves on that movie. It's amazing what they did there. And the movie just works on every level. It's just it's a great science fiction story. It's a great adventure film. It's a movie that showed you something that you never seen before like that, and I still think it's the last movie that you really saw something completely new as a moviegoer. Nothing that's come after that has been as groundbreaking as the effects in Jurassic Park were. And it just works as a story, and it works. The characters are really good. They're all memorable as well. Ian Malcolm is a great character. Alan Grant, Hammond. The music is amazing. Again, of course, music by John Williams. Yeah. So to me, everything about this movie is perfect, and it's only kind of grown in esteem from my part as I've grown older. Yeah, and it was just an amazing experience seeing this in the cinema. I mean, it was so. I probably couldn't really fully appreciate it at 7 years old, but I still remember though the experience of seeing it the first time. Yeah, it was really certainly one of the best sort of blockbuster films ever made. And Spielberg, there's no one better than him at doing this kind of film. Yeah, to this day, nothing has really come along that really challenged it. And it was like, for me, the end of an era of really great blockbusters, by Spielberg and George Lucas. Started with Jaws in 75, and then the Star Wars movies, the Indiana Jones movies, yeah, and then Jurassic Park. And after that, for me, also because Spielberg kind of moved away from that kind of movie a bit, and George Lucas, yeah, he did the Star Wars prequels, but which of course we are not on the same level as the original films. Yeah, that's it about Jurassic Park and that whole era of great blockbusters. Number 3 is again something completely different. Again, another Stanley Kubrick film, and what I think is his masterpiece, which is 2001: A Space Odyssey. Funny enough, I saw this movie actually in the year 2001 for the first time when I was 15. And yeah, I was really blown away by it. I saw it on TV. And again, like a lot of other Kubrick films, something about it made me want to watch it over and over again to understand it better. I did have more like a problem with how slow it seemed to be the first time I saw it, but that's something that I kind of got past pretty quick. And of course, as all Kubrick films on a technical level, it's very, very impressive, especially for at the time. The effects are really very good. Maybe in some scenes it's a little bit dated. Like there are some scenes where you see the Earth from space, where it doesn't really look like how I know the Earth looks now. But yeah, they didn't really know at the time what it looked like. Yeah, again, technically, it's extremely impressive to watch even today. But on top of that, it has such an amazingly interesting story, and very intriguing and mysterious and ambitious too. Yeah, and the ending, the last 30 minutes or so, are just so like kind of bizarre, but also really impressive, and it just leaves you in a state of like awe almost. And it really kind of goes into like kind of transcendent dimension, you know. Unlike any other films I've ever seen, it really, yeah, it's very ambitious, very. It tries to kind of convey something about the nature of humankind and its relation to the universe, and in a way that's really kind of subtle and really makes you think about things. And yeah, it's really a masterpiece and the best science fiction film ever made, and in a way, it kind of killed the science fiction genre, because it's kind of hard to imagine something ever being as ambitious and impressive and profound as this film. Yeah, it's one of those films that you can really say is undoubtedly and kind of universally considered to be a masterpiece. All right, so that's number 3. And number 2 is a much less ambitious film, but just a personal favorite that's always been up there on my favorites list. It used to be number 1, and that's Raiders of the Lost Ark. Just a movie I have tremendous affection for, and yeah, it's pretty much the most fun you can have watching a movie. Just extremely entertaining, and it introduced such a great character, you know, with Indiana Jones. There's not many examples of movies that introduced a character that became so famous and so iconic right away, and that was not based on any previous novel or anything else. And yeah, it's just it is the best, certainly by far, of the Indiana Jones films. I have The Last Crusade as well as my top 20, so that comes pretty close, but this one has the most iconic moments, the best MacGuffin, let's say, with the arc, and the best, I think the best story overall, and yeah, it's maybe the most perfect example of, you know, Hollywood filmmaking, in, you know, the blockbuster filmmaking, and it's one of the most quintessential films of Steven Spielberg. All right, and now for my number 1 film, and that's The Shawshank Redemption. It's also the number 1 film on IMDb. And maybe you could say that the fact that it's number one on IMDb um, maybe influences it a little bit as well. But you know, it's like it reinforces your own feeling about the movie in a way, and it's a movie that, as you know, is special to many people. Um, yeah. So why do I have it at number one? Well, at the end of the day, you know, when you watch a movie, you want to have some kind of you want to get involved and you know, be immersed in a story and care about what you're seeing on the screen, you know. And yeah, there are some movies like 2001, for example, that aim to be, you know, mysterious and to make you think about things, about what the movie itself meant. And there's a space for that as well, and it's something that I very much appreciate. But at the end of the day, you know, you want to see when you see a movie, you want to be affected by it. You want to get involved with the story, and you want to have someone that you can root for, a character that you can relate to. And when it comes to those things, that's why I think this is the my number one, because it gets me like involved and caring about what happens to the characters better than any other film. And it has a way of like showing a friendship developing between two men, which is the most believable that I've ever seen in a film. And yeah, by the end of the movie, you really, really care about what you know. It has a happy ending, as many know. And when you get to that point of the ending, you there's like an emotional, you know, satisfaction that's really earned. And yeah, you just genuinely like it when when he achieves his freedom, when he gets his revenge on that horrible warden. It's an incredibly like feel good film and just incredibly satisfying. Just the way the whole story is constructed is so brilliant, and yeah, the performances are amazing. And there are just so many scenes that are so beautifully created and written, and they really have like this emotional charge and impact because, again, because yeah, you really get to care about the characters, and that's something that, you know, it's an important thing in a movie, to this, especially this kind of movie, which is in a way, you know, a straightforward narrative. It's not like some other films that are more experimental. But this kind of film really succeeds when it makes you care about what's happening, and that's why this movie works so well. And also, it's the theme of like believing in something and having hope for the future, and achieving, you know, your vision of happiness. Um, yeah, having that hope for the future, and actually making it come true. Because, you know, at the end of the movie, he talks about, you know, he ends up actually living what he was talking about, like a few scenes earlier before he escapes. And he makes that kind of thing that seemed like a pipe dream, it becomes real when he is joined by Red, and maybe they, you know, they are on this beach, and they can, you know, maybe open some kind of place where people can sleep or something. So yeah, it's a movie that shows, you know, your hopes and dreams can come true, and like someone who's a right and good person eventually, you know, wins against evil. You know, all those things that come together in this film. Now, so that was it. Hope you enjoyed my list, and well, let me know in the comments what you think.